These are three things that hurt a narcissist more than anything else in the world. Hello, and welcome back to another one of our video presentations. That is exactly what I would like to discuss with you today, while also asking the question of whether a narcissist can ever actually be moved to tears. This inquiry is important because even though narcissists often occupy the role of the victim or the offended party, their deep-seated sensitivity makes them incredibly vulnerable to the very strikes that are inevitably aimed their way. A narcissist possesses a fragile ego that can be wounded by almost anything, though there are certain experiences that will only terrify them, while others are capable of inflicting significant, lasting damage to their self-esteem. If the killer blow comes from a person that the narcissist happens to admire the most, the results will be absolutely devastating. Challenges to their carefully maintained pride and their constant, unyielding demand for control hurt them more deeply than any other kind of pain, regardless of whether that challenge takes place in a public forum or within the privacy of a home. To put this another way, narcissists effectively create their own unhappiness through a cycle of lying, constant pretense, and deep-seated insecurity. The observations we are making here would not be so problematic if it were not for that central fact. Because they view themselves as inherently indestructible, narcissists will demand some form of retribution the very instant they hear your voice. They truly believe that the burden of suffering should fall solely upon other people's shoulders rather than their own. I have also noticed that narcissism is increasingly being labeled as a complex mental health disorder in today's society. What these individuals truly need from us is our genuine compassion and understanding. Yet the reality is that the narcissist is clearly engaging in hypocritical behavior. They are dependent on our compassion to provide them with another chance, which means they remain perpetually vulnerable. Let us not waste any more time, however. Here are the three certain ways to hurt a narcissist's feelings that I want to discuss with you today. The first way is being scrapped and thrown out of their life. When it comes to receiving constructive criticism, narcissists possess a very thin skin. They dread the prospect of being alone because they require the constant, unwavering approval of their friends and family members to sustain their sense of self. A narcissist simply cannot make it in this world without the help and validation of others. It is becoming increasingly difficult to break free of a narcissist's grasp once you have allowed yourself to become deeply enmeshed with them. These individuals are empowered by the massive proliferation of social media and instant messaging, which has allowed them to create an online utopia where they are showered with endless adulation. They are able to keep their connections strong despite the complete lack of physical contact, a feat that would be quite difficult for most other people to manage. Narcissists, on the other hand, can derive all the satisfaction they need from the never-ending stream of online compliments they receive daily. For the time being, this is enough to keep their watered-down imaginations and their twisted concerns alive and well. The second greatest dread that a narcissist faces is being exposed. I have shared some of my thoughts on this subject in my earlier videos, so I will not repeat everything here. However, it is common knowledge that narcissists care deeply about projecting a very specific, curated image to the world, and they will tell a massive number of lies to maintain that facade. The goal of a narcissist's entire existence is to give everyone the impression that they are much more interesting and far more successful than they actually are. It must cause them an unbearable amount of pain to witness their entire world crumbling as the truth comes to light. Being insulted is the third and final thing that will affect a narcissist the most. These individuals are self-aware enough to understand the impact of their remarks on the people around them. They certainly employ dishonest, manipulative techniques, often using nothing more than their words to inflict harm on others. A narcissist, on the other hand, is extremely sensitive to and easily hurt by the slightest bit of constructive criticism. When you are dealing with a narcissist, being totally forthright and honest with them is seen as a major crime. This is a common occurrence, but any criticism aimed at their constructed persona will be taken very personally by them. It will quickly become clear to you that narcissists are especially prone to being insulted because they are already so deeply insecure and paranoid. Unfortunately, they always seem to carry some sort of defect. It is truly unhappy, and things do not seem good now that they have been exposed to the harsh light of reality. They struggle to understand even the simplest concepts once their facade is stripped away. At any rate, these are the three things that are most likely to have a profoundly negative effect on a narcissist. Several of their weaknesses are now evident, as they are revealed to be nothing more than sneaky manipulators and frightened wimps. Since that likely covers everything for today, I will go ahead and call it a night. I hope all of you continue to have a great rest of the week. I truly appreciate you taking the time to listen to what we have to say. When it comes to the best way to defeat the narcissist among the people you meet in life, you should know that they are almost always the most jealous and envious people you will ever encounter. Moving on and finding true happiness without the narcissist in your life is the single worst thing you can possibly do to them because they will be filled with burning envy. Narcissists can never find happiness on their own. While some narcissists may appear to be financially secure and professionally accomplished, this is never enough to satisfy their insatiable need for adulation. Narcissists get their needs met by making other people suffer. Having someone else's sadness validate the narcissist's own deep feelings of isolation may provide them with some small, twisted form of comfort. Always remember that narcissists actively try to make everyone else's life as miserable as possible, and the old phrase about misery-loving company perfectly defines how they operate. Keep in mind that your mental and emotional well-being is much more crucial, especially since narcissists can easily tell whether you are hurt, holding on to resentment, or open to forgiveness. If you want to become desirable to them again, you must keep your distance from narcissists and their flying monkeys, as they will do everything in their power to keep you down. If you want to successfully avoid the narcissist, you need to stop talking to them and to their followers. Having them around will only serve to slow down your healing process. However, that is obviously contingent upon the extent of the damage the narcissist has done to you. You must maintain your emotional equilibrium if you are forced to deal with a narcissist, despite your best attempts to avoid them. One effective strategy for dealing with such a person is to treat them like air and simply walk right past them. The most effective strategy of all is to practice complete silence while keeping your own spirits up. The narcissist has a very hard time understanding this. Narcissists constantly seek out their victims in order to air their grievances with them over and over again. They expect positive results because they assume that you have struggled since you have gone on without them, and they fully expect you to be in a worse position than you were before. They will feel good about themselves after the narcissist sees that you cannot win their game of tit for tat by focusing all your energy on them. They take a sick, perverted pleasure in seeing you bring yourself down through your own anger, resentment, and desire for vengeance. There is simply no way out of this predicament if you choose to hold on to your feelings of helplessness. On the flip side, if you maintain a pessimistic attitude toward life, you may inadvertently attract more of the same. If you wish to improve your life after experiencing narcissistic abuse, you will need to make significant changes to the way you think and feel, as well as to your overall level of personal development. Always remember to remain courageous in every single aspect of your being. When narcissists see one of their past victims finally flourishing in life, it can bring up deep, depressive feelings within them. Despite their outward expressions of fake happiness regarding your recovery, they may be holding a great deal of internal anger towards you for the perceived harm that they believe has been done to their relationship. They want to snuff out your inner flame. If you succeed despite their best efforts to stop you, they will only become even more hostile. It will be absolutely devastating to them to learn that you have gone on to greater and better things. Treating a narcissist as though they do not exist or as though they are not important to you is a certain way to get on their bad side. You have likely caused them a great deal of mental anguish, which they may or may not show outwardly at this time. The narcissist is likely to start poking about, looking for any opening they can find. Reconciling with a narcissist is extremely dangerous. Therefore, if they do not sincerely apologize and confess that they were wrong to treat you the way they did, you should absolutely lock the door and ignore them until they do. They will try to throw a romantic curveball at you to make you feel better about giving up on them, but then they will inevitably go right back to wrecking your life. A former narcissist who is aware of your progress should be avoided at all costs. You are valuable regardless of whether they choose to acknowledge it or not. The success we have achieved is the primary source of the narcissist's jealousy because it highlights their own profound inadequacy and the fact that they will never be able to measure up to us in terms of quality or experience. The depth of emotion that we are capable of feeling and our ability to defy the odds and thrive in spite of narcissistic abuse is the ultimate form of payback. Protect the calm within you and the brightness within you so that they are never extinguished. I truly hope that what I have said here today will prove useful to you. I pray for your well-being. I want to wish you a very good week. Until we meet again, remember these are the 9 signs that a narcissist likes you and wants to have you back. Hoovering is a specific form of emotional abuse and psychological blackmail that a narcissist may employ if they feel they are losing power and control over you. Hoovering is essentially the practice of trying to suck you back in quickly and greedily. It is just another desperate attempt to get you back into their cycle of abuse so that they may continue to use you. Their entire self-centered viewpoint is based on the idea that you only broke up with them because they stopped caring about you after the initial honeymoon phase. It is all too common for truly unpleasant behavior to follow a very good initial meeting. How do you recognize the indicators that your energy is being progressively drained by a narcissist? Please continue watching until the very conclusion, and I will reveal the 9 telltale signals that a narcissist is actively exploiting you. First and foremost, narcissists often carry on as if absolutely nothing has changed. It is possible for the narcissist to attempt to cover over their past behavior toward the victim by suddenly reaching out to them. Any communication that sounds too wistful or too kind to be true should be investigated with extreme caution. Do not spend your valuable time thinking about them instead of trying to solve the enigma. They will try to have a talk with you about how to ignore what is actually happening and how to carry on as usual. Sending you an amusing note or giving you a call just to see how your day is going are 2 common examples of this. Former partners of narcissists may approach you at work with comments like, "I miss the old days when you used to take me home on your breaks and bring me coffee," or something very similar to that effect. Another instance is the unexpected gift of flowers. Because they are never willing to take actual responsibility or make real amends for their actions, narcissists define their disorder through this behavior. They can simply choose to carry on as if nothing bad ever happened, and all of this is really just a calculated act designed to keep up appearances with their many admirers on social media. They are also trying to trick you into believing that your relationship has not actually ended. Second, narcissists are notorious for apologizing despite never truly meaning a single word of it. Please keep in mind that a narcissist can never truly change. You should give it some very serious thought and ensure that they are genuinely sorry and truly repentant before you even consider forgiving them or giving them another chance. There are subtle undercurrents of dishonesty in this kind of hoovering approach, but they remain quite effective. If you want to see how they truly react, you can try changing the subject. If the narcissist immediately becomes angry with you, it is a clear sign that they are not truly remorseful at all. Narcissists are self-centered individuals who will always prioritize their own wants and desires over the needs of anyone else. They will continue these harmful practices unabated until the point where they no longer yield the results they are looking for. You should be extremely careful around people who only pretend to be sorry because they usually make a huge deal out of the performance. There goes yet another classic manipulation tactic. While a sincere apology might seem like it goes against their very nature, it should always lead to better behavior in the future. Stop worrying so much about your past choices for now, because you deserve the freedom to do whatever you want for yourself moving forward. Third, narcissists will often promise you eternal love and devotion. They frequently resort to love bombing as a weapon to express their affection by sharing their thoughts and feelings with you. For a narcissist, the key to winning back your love is to bring up the good old days. They will magnify the relevance of those past experiences by using their excessive love for themselves to fuel the narrative. They might say things like they could never find someone better than you, or that no one else makes them feel the way you do. Perhaps these grand, mushy gestures are meant to help you relax, but when they keep showing their love for you, it is because they want you to cave in. Even after all this time, the false claims continue to be made. If you are currently in a relationship with a narcissist, they will use the word love to play on your deepest emotions and convince you to stay. Fourth, when they are using the love bombing tactic, narcissists will make promises that they simply cannot keep. They will try to reassure you by making sweeping assertions about their commitment. They might propose marriage, present you with a fancy car, or invite you on a trip. There is absolutely no chance that they will ever stick to their word, however. Narcissists only have to answer to themselves, which is exactly why you cannot trust them to maintain their promises. There is no way to justify blaming yourself for how you have been feeling or acting, as those promises exist between them and no one else. You should always keep in mind that those promises were never designed with your best interests in mind. The narcissist's actions are driven entirely by their desperate need to increase your dependence on them for as long as possible. Fifth, if they still cannot reach you directly, they will try to employ intermediaries to get to you. A narcissist will do everything it takes to get you back into their arms. One way they do this is by showing your parents how much they mean to them by staying in touch regularly and telling them how much they appreciate them. They will use your children to brag to their peers about how amazing you are and how much they miss you. You should be very wary of this hoovering technique where they attempt to gain access to your personal information by contacting you through people you already know and trust. They might keep trying to shower you with love notes through these middlemen. One possible explanation for this behavior is that you have simply given up on making contact with them and they cannot handle the silence. Sixth, a narcissist might try to gain your pity by playing the victim. People who have a tendency toward narcissism also tend to be incredibly dramatic. They mostly sit around feeling sorry for themselves. They are experts at creating false emergencies and crises to get your attention and build rapport. It is common practice for them to fabricate or exaggerate a family death as a means of gaining your sympathy. A narcissist's powerful emotions stem from their insatiable need for admiration and adulation. As much as they are fixated on you, they also need to be the center of the spotlight at all times. In most cases, they employ this tactic in an effort to capture your attention by substantially increasing your level of terror. False information and rumors are their specialty, which brings us to point number 7. Such thorough vacuuming will one day be used against you, though perhaps not today. Narcissists and other drama seekers can now spread false rumors about you through their own social circles. These are people you once relied on, but they are now actively plotting your demise. They are trying to inspire you to take action by disseminating false information about you and emphasizing your perceived shortcomings. Try your best not to tell stories that make them the hero and you the villain. In your haste to right the ship, you are likely to just make matters more confusing. Narcissists act in this way to cut you off from your network of friends and family and push you further away from mainstream culture. They anticipate that you will seek their help again in the future. It is entirely up to you to decide how to react to harsh comments made by others, as engaging with them is usually a fruitless exertion that leads nowhere. 8th, narcissists are absolute masters of the gaslighting technique. A narcissist will try to make you believe that you are imagining things after they have smeared your reputation and made up accusations against you. In spite of my best efforts, I keep getting the impression that they are being ignored. As incredulous as it may sound, that appears to be the cold, hard fact. They will tell you to never mind the countless hours they spent on you, or that you tend to overanalyze everything that happens. They might say that how they treated you was not pardonable by any means, even though they claimed that was their best effort. They use gaslighting to get you to misinterpret what they said because they do not want to take responsibility for their actions and they truly do not care about how you feel. Your first impressions are almost always correct. Their claims are intentionally nonsensical because they are made with that specific goal in mind. No critical evaluation of their claims or pausing for affection is ever welcome from them. Get ready, because they will try to provoke you in whatever way they possibly can. 9th, they hurt themselves intentionally so that you will trust them again. The most obvious evidence that a narcissist is trying to hoover you is the use of threats regarding self-injury. When other forms of self-improvement have failed, a narcissist may threaten to hurt themselves if you do not give in to their demands. They will hurt themselves as a threat meant to get you to cave into their wishes. If their calls and texts are ignored, some narcissists may even threaten suicide. Let us pretend for a second that you have concluded that the narcissist is in immediate danger. If this is the case, you should contact the nearest emergency services number immediately. Keep in mind that you cannot be held accountable if someone damages or kills themselves after you did nothing to stop them. Recognize that a narcissist may attempt to engulf you in their own sense of self-importance. They are experts at manipulating your emotions into a permanent commitment to them. Do not forget that narcissists are the ones who invariably wind up hurting other people. The greatest method to get some distance and perspective is to step back and take an objective look at yourself from the outside. If you pay close attention, you can notice that the narcissist is employing these hoovering techniques to get what they want out of the relationship. Please click the like and subscribe buttons if you found this video helpful. You would have my undying gratitude. If you believe this information is correct, you should check out my previous videos regarding narcissists. Moving on to the 10 behaviors of victims of mental abuse by narcissists, healing from others who have survived the onslaught of mental abuse from a narcissist can provide you with insight into how to handle your own personal circumstances. Such conduct could harm your prospects of achieving love and emotional fulfillment. A person's conduct may shift for any number of reasons. Emotional highs and lows are often a reflection of other people's behavior. However, one's behavior may be improved upon in the same way that any other part of your life can be. Changes in conduct are the most obvious and deleterious consequences of psychological stress. In this video, I will discuss some of the signs that victims of narcissistic abuse may exhibit. Number 1 is depression and anxiety. Do you know someone who just never seems to get over their constant worry and sadness? How much time and effort did you spend checking in on them to make sure everything was all right? In other words, what appears to be the issue? It is very possible that the narcissist is mentally abusing this person. Being the focus of relentless criticism really wears a person down. This is not as fast as the recovery time for a bruise that has been treated with cold packs. Abuse on the mental plane creates deep, permanent wounds. Verbal abuse, which can be subtle but devastating, usually occurs when the offender is someone the victim often interacts with or simply cannot avoid. If you expect to be abused in the future, you cannot expect to feel upbeat and happy. Not anything close to that has happened as of yet. To put it more accurately, it makes individuals feel so hopeless and helpless that death by suicide becomes an attractive alternative to them. What will happen next is a mystery, but please seek medical attention if this occurs.